Here at the Legal Warriors, I always get a question about what is a prosecutor's mindset? Are they out to get you? What are they up to? And you might be surprised about the answer I'm going to cover in this video. So if you're interested in that area of the law, stay tuned. This is the video for you. My name is Attorney Lance Fryrear. I'm a defense attorney in Lynnwood, Washington. My law firm's been defending people charged with crimes all throughout Washington State for more than 20 years, and I'm putting out these videos to help educate the public. So if you find this useful, please like and please subscribe. More people get to see it. More people get the help they need. Now just jumping right into it. The mindset of prosecutors. Well, I know a little about that because some of you may know and some of you may not know that the first 7 years of my career, I was actually a prosecuting attorney. Now, my law firm's been open about 25 years after that, so I've been doing this a while. But I can tell you that the mindset of prosecutors is a big, important question because let's think about it. The prosecutor is probably the most important person in that courtroom. They're the one with the power to charge the case. They're the one with the power to amend the charge, the lesser charges. They have the power to dismiss the case, offer alternatives. And most people think the judge is the most important person in the courtroom, but usually it's going to be the prosecutor. So what is the prosecutor's mindset? And I think there's about 3 different ways I can think about what a prosecutor's mindset is, and those categories depend on what level of court the prosecutor's at. So let's start with the first and probably most important prosecutor mindset we might have is the therapeutic mindset. So a prosecutor at a municipal level or a district court level, that means on non-felonies in Washington State, we really hope that they have a therapeutic mindset. And what that means is they're looking for a way where they can do justice, but while also making sure that some good is done in the case. Not good for the alleged victim, not good for society, but good for the defendant. Let's say it's a standard DUI case. Well, how can we make sure that this defendant is never in front of the court again? Well, maybe some alcohol treatment, some alcohol education. The same way with the domestic violence case, right? Many domestic violence cases may not be super offensive on the police report. It might be a push or pull or something like that, not some really bad type of case. And so that type of situation, we hope that the prosecutor has a therapeutic mindset. Think about what can the defendant do to improve their education about how to handle conflict and how any type of physical contact or physical violence is not acceptable. And there might be doing classes like domestic violence, moral recognition therapy, anger management, if substances involved, stuff like that. And so in these cases, we hope the prosecutor has a therapeutic mindset where they're going to be looking at what has the defendant done in the case to improve themselves, to educate themselves from the situation, with the overall goal not only being doing justice, but make sure that we leave everybody in this case better off than when we found them. And when I was a prosecutor, that's sort of how I looked at things. I was a prosecutor at a non-felony level, and defense attorneys would come up to me and try to tell me about the facts of the case. Well, my client's innocent because of this or because of that. And literally I would look at them and say, I don't care, right? We can argue about the facts of the case at a trial. Please tell me what you're doing for your client. What has your client done? How are you improving your client so I can take that into account in listening to your factual argument? Because many attorneys make a mistake and just argue the facts of the case. And think about it. If you're the prosecutor, it's not your job to let someone go. It's your job to respond to the case in some way. And so if you get a defense attorney that's just arguing about the facts of the case, many prosecutors just turn off and say, well, my police report says otherwise, right? My Bible of this case is the police report. And my police officer who's going to come in and say your client's guilty is a professional witness. So good luck, Mr. or Mrs. Defense Attorney. So at a non-felony level, that therapeutic approach hopefully is what the prosecutor's looking at. If we move on to the second type of mindset of a prosecutor, I'm going to call it the factually based prosecutor, that neutral, fact-only prosecutor. And those you might find at the felony level or the non-felony level. And so that type of neutral prosecutor, sort of the robot prosecutor, I'm not a big fan of them. And I could name a few here that exist in Washington State, but I'm not going to because that'd get me in a lot of trouble. But these particular prosecutors, in my opinion, they just blindly look at the report and blindly go through life saying, well, here's what I can prove. Give me a factual issue about why it is I should change this charge. And they don't really care about the human side of things. And so the mindset of that prosecutor is, hey, I'm getting through the day. I'm a technician. I'm here to enforce law school exam type standards about what someone is guilty of or not. And I think that's just wrong, right? The prosecutor is there, in my opinion, to provide the gray to the black and white of the law, right? There's not one of us that goes through life without committing some type of crime according to the black and the white of the law at some point in our lives. And if you have made it through your life thinking that you've never done anything wrong, you probably need to take a closer look at what the laws actually say. But that particular prosecutor is a difficult one because they may not care about anything that the client has done factually afterwards, right? Doing classes or stuff like that, or that they have no criminal history, or that they're a veteran and they have mental health issues that may have contributed to whatever problems they're having, self-medicating from their PTSD from serving our country. Those things, in my opinion, should matter. But that mindset of that prosecutor that I'm just a technician and I don't have any courage to provide the gray to the black and white of the system, that really hits me wrong. It's not how I did things. I don't think that's how a prosecutor should do things either. So I think that's the second type. Now, the third type is the nightmare, right? The third type of prosecutor mindset is, I am out to get you. I am out to get you. I'm out to cause you pain. I am seeing the world as me, the prosecutor, versus all the evil criminals of the world. And those prosecutors often find themselves moved up, in my opinion, to the felony level of prosecution. Because even if that's not when they start out in the felony level of prosecution, that might be how they turn out. Because at the felony level of prosecution, much more serious crimes, it makes a lot of sense that we're not looking at therapeutic approaches to cases because it's a much more serious offense, right? Could be someone could lose their life in that type of case, or serious cases of assault and things that, therapeutic issues probably shouldn't count the same. Additionally, people that get to that level just need to take that type of approach to survive because what they're dealing with is the worst of the worst. Now, if you run into that type of prosecutorial mindset at the misdemeanor and non-felony level, then we have some extra work to do, right? We need to get around that prosecutor. We need to get to their supervisors. We need to do things, or we need to do things to correct them, right? We need to make sure that we take their ridiculous cases to trial so they can change their attitude and begin to look at things differently. And so most people think that the mindset of a prosecutor is that third mindset, right? I'm out to get you. It's the prosecutor versus all the evil people of the world. And happily, that's not the case normally. That's a small minority of prosecutors act like that. And think about why that is. A prosecutor is just a person who has a job for a period of time, could be their whole career, to represent the government, right, against people accused of crimes. And they've got all this caseload and all this stuff going on in so many different people pulling at them, the victims, the police officers, the courts. If you're a high-level prosecutor, it could be government officials. You might be getting a call from a mayor if you're the head prosecutor for the city. And it just doesn't pay to hold the line like that unless you really have some type of personal, vendetta against a certain type of person, a certain type of crime. I'll say that when I started out, did my first jury trial when I was 24, I was a little bit more like that to start out because I didn't know anything different, right? I was just a young kid at 24. It's like, I'm going to get you. And once I was in the system for a while, I could see that people just need help. People charged with crimes, they just need help. They're not happy that they're there. They're not happy that they did something allegedly. They may not know what's going on. And I think a really effective prosecutor is one that takes that into account and balances things and actually does justice. So those are the three types of prosecutor mindsets that I think about. You might think of some others. You could always throw some suggestions in the comments. Everybody's mileage may vary. But just remember, listen to your attorney, do what they tell you. And if your attorney is doing a good job, they'll know what type of prosecutor they're up against. And they're going to adjust their strategy to help you and help your case. If you found that useful, please like and please subscribe. More people get to see it. More people get the help they need. More importantly, if you have a criminal matter in Washington State, feel free to reach out to my firm. If we get on board, we'll listen to what happened, we'll identify a way forward, and we will be there for you. Thank you.